Keith, it just doesn't happen. So when I started, again, putting all of it together and looking at it, it was really clear that we had been misinformed. And the problem with it over fluoride is that the dentists themselves have been so indoctrinated that so oftentimes they reply or retort with some sort of dogma. Frankly, I think most of the dentists have not educated themselves on this issue thoroughly enough. I think what you tend to see is everybody getting up and they're just parroting and saying what they've been told with very little thought or examination. And so it must be good because all these other people say it's good. Well, look at the science, look at the chemistry, see if it makes sense. Some people have called it a protected poison, and the reason for that, I believe, is that manufacturing, quite frankly, needs it to produce and make a lot of things. The trouble is they come up with a toxic waste and they have to get rid of it. How nice to be able to sell your garbage to communities and put it in the water. Why are all these brave and courageous people, standing up to this Goliath and saying no more? It's because the truth is what it is. I think that the body of evidence claiming fluoride is bad is generally summarily dismissed by the bulk of the profession as just BS or, bad information, bad source. No point in looking at that. We already know the truth, dogma, dogma, dogma. My belief is if the dentists themselves really started looking at the information independently, they might be a little unhappy with organized dentistry. At one time I thought that I could bring this problem up through the system, at least get my colleagues to look at it, and I got shut down, and so that told me that, supposedly there's a way, it seems to me there should be a way for a member to bring up something that's not working, and the group of us should sit down and examine it, but that just doesn't happen. So I think the only way things are going to change is if pressure comes from outside the profession, by citizens and other organizations, other dentists who know the truth. It's really sad that we can't clean it up ourselves, but again, I think that's because if all of this were to change, it's going to influence the income stream for a lot of people. That puts a lot of pressure on continuing to do things the way we do them. So, yeah, there's a lot of pressure there. The substance they want to put in, or typically put in, hydrofluorosilicic acid, has lead and arsenic in it too. So you're going to add more lead to the water that's there. And in addition, the chemistry of fluoride is such that it pulls lead out of the pipes. So here you have a situation where fluoride's pulling more lead out of the pipes, so it's releasing lead to the community. Well, in this community, I think I'm the only dentist that's anti-fluoride. I'm the only one who's willing to be vocal about it. There may be others that secretly believe that, but they're not willing to come out of the closet. So I'd say it's very much a minority. I've had discussions with my classmates at times from dental school, and at first there was general disbelief that it could even be true, but now at least one of my classmates is willing to acknowledge that, gee, maybe what you have to share could be right, because I've examined health and nutrition with Dr. McDougall, and he says the same thing about nutrition and physicians. So maybe you are right, but I think that you take a position like I do, and it puts you at a lot of risk. And I don't think most dentists are willing to do that. I don't even want to be in that position. The problem is that I've been raised also to do the right thing, and a belief that that most people want to do the right thing. I find this appalling that we're in the position we are. It's just unbelievable. Well, you're killing a sacred cow. I mean, fluoride's good. Fluoride's good. Fluoride's good. And for you to say otherwise, are you crazy? Fluoride's good. It's dogma, dogma, dogma. I mean, how can you think otherwise? We've been taught it's good. You're just one of those quacks, those crackpots. Matter of fact, my cousin gave me some anti-fluoride literature to me, a few years before I went to this conference, and he said, He said, listen, I don't know anything about this. I've got people that are telling me fluoride's not good, and you say it's good. Read this stuff. So he handed me the stuff. I read it, and I said, this is garbage. It's good. Fluoride's good. I mean, I used to believe that too, until I got to look at the science. And you look at the science, and it's indisputable. It's bad. And it's maybe a minority position, but it's the truth. Fluoride is bad. It's not a topic that most dentists sit around and talk about anyway. It only comes up at city council meeting type things. And I know, it was really hard the other night at the city council meeting, because I gotta tell you, several of the dentists that got up there are acquaintances and old friends of mine, and I'm sure that they find it very discouraging for an old friend, former board member, to get up there and shame them on what they're doing. I hate to be in that position. I mean, there are other people that have reversed their positions too, because they have the wherewithal and the guts to examine the literature and say, maybe we're wrong about this. Maybe this is true. And when you start to see the studies and you do the work, you go, whoa, this is wrong. But then, most dentists are just not doing that. It just isn't happening. When I first came to Santa Cruz, I was definitely pro-fluoride, and I was amazed that the patients here didn't want fluoride. I could not believe that. What do you mean you don't want fluoride? It's good stuff. And so I met resistance from patients right away, which began to sort of tweak me. When I worked in Los Angeles, you'd tell somebody, you need fluoride, you need this, you need that. Okay, doctor, thank you very much. Not here. This community questions authority. And I think that's what it takes. I was very surprised that patients didn't want it. I couldn't believe it. You mean you don't want fluoride? Wow. So, a lot of patients we wouldn't do fluoride for. And, but it was that attitude that caused me to wonder if I was doing things right. And, as you start looking at it, the patients themselves oftentimes bring the education to the dentist. And they have to be brave and willing enough to do that, because the dentists are certainly not going to get the education through their own professional organizations. So I think if patients persist in bringing this up over and over and over, perhaps we'll reach critical mass and get what we need to have happen. I know that we're really harming people, and I also know that my colleagues are very well intentioned, and then they've been misled. And it's like having, the lone voice in the forest. And, I don't question, I don't question that what I'm doing is right or wrong. I know what, I know that what we're doing is right, that this is a bad thing. And it's beyond me that intelligent people wouldn't sit down and really take a thoughtful look at this. That's what I have trouble with. People who do what I do, they're looking for the truth, and it's about the truth. I mean, this is insane. This is craziness. It really is. Putting this chemical in the water. I mean, even if we could accept it worked, why do we have to put everybody else at risk? When you go and you look at the history about this information's been known for 60, 70 years. It's been repressed, and good people have lost their jobs and their careers just by doing the right thing. This fluoride controversy has been going on from the get-go. And people were voicing the same concerns 50 years ago that they're bringing up today. This isn't new. And the same old. It's just that the people who want to push this through have just gotten more clever at shoving things through on a legislative basis, and continue to provide more disinformation. Have I ever debated anybody who was pro-fluoride? No. You know why? They refuse to show up. That's how they deal with it. They don't show up. They can't debate it. You're not ever going to get anybody in the same room with David Kennedy to debate fluoride. I'll tell you that right now. He's a walking encyclopedia, and he knows his stuff and won't be intimidated. But no, they don't show up. we've invited them time and time again to be on the radio or have a forum. No one shows up.